We'll call the hearing to order, June 16th, 2021. My name is Ed Nardi, Chair of the Natural Resources Commission, and I am calling this public meeting to order at 7 p.m. Tonight's NRC meeting will be a hybrid, in-person, and Zoom meeting. This is the first meeting where we have tried the hybrid model, so please be patient. We have a microphone set up on the commission table, and if you are participating via Zoom, you may need to put both your computer speaker and Zoom audio on high setting in order to hear the meeting. Following the presentation by the petitioner and questions from the commission, members of the public will have the opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment. Please identify yourself with name and address for the record. You can also raise your hand from your phone by dialing *9 and use *6 to unmute. All video screens will be turned off with the exception of the commissioners, Delia, and the current petitioner. Once the commission has acted on an application, the petitioner is free to leave the meeting. All votes will be taken by roll call vote. In the event of any technical difficulties, all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will automatically be continued to the July 7th, 2021 NRC meeting. At this time, I would ask the commissioners to introduce themselves.
Greg Higgins.
Nick Pappas.
Sarah Grimwood.
And Gary Kleiman.
Thank you. The first thing on the agenda is approval of the April 7th, 2021 meeting minutes. Any comments from the commissioners on those?
No, they were excellent.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were good.
I thought they were really good. I have no
Karen.
comments. Thank you, Karen.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as submitted.
You have a
Second.
Thank you. Greg?
Aye.
Nick?
Abstain.
Thank you. Sarah?
Aye.
Gary?
I would abstain also since I wasn't.
Oh, that's right. You were not sitting there. And I'm an aye as well. All right. Delia, anything for the director's update this evening?
Just a few very brief things. We have our second ranger, Kendra Fontenay, has joined Bill Brooks, who's been on since December. Bill Brooks has been focused on Estabrook and Punkatasset, and now they are expanding. Bill still is spending some time at Estabrook, but they're spending a lot of time at White Pond and other conservation lands, just ensuring compliance with rules and regulations. We did have some evidence of a bloom at White Pond, and so that is being monitored. Yeah. Thank you. So that is being monitored. And the Haywood Meadow wall construction for the extension of that corner on the gunhouse side of the meadow along Haywood Street to replace the bollards, that is finally starting on Monday. So
Oh, that's
we're
great.
excited about
I was going to ask about that because in the minutes it said that we reviewed it said mid-May, so that's good to
that.
know.
Yeah,
Good.
it's finally.
Great.
Yes, first day of summer. So. Yes. Thank
Okay.
you, that's it.
Thank you, Delia. All right. I think we have three continuances this evening. If I could have a motion on those.
Make a motion to continue DEP file number 1371565 and DEP file number 1371562 and DEP file number 1371504 until the July 7th meeting.
Second.
Second.
Thanks, Nick. And we'll take the vote. Greg?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
And Gary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. All right, moving on to our first continued hearings this evening. First up is Town of Concord, 90Y Plainfield Road, DEP file number 137-1559. And who will be discussing that with us this evening?
That'll be me. I'm Gene Bollinger from Weston and Sampson.
Evening. Chief.
And Kate Hodges is here this evening from the town, and Ryan Orr. And my associate, Lainey Cohen, is going to help me if we need to share some information virtually.
Hi there. Thank you for having us.
Shall I start in?
Sure, please. Please do.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much, Mr. Chairman. I found out too late that the meeting could be attended in person after 16 months of Zoom meetings. I think I would actually much prefer to be with all of you tonight in Concord. At any rate, what I'd like to do is update the commission on some information that's been provided in response to numerous requests that have been made as this project has been considered by the commission. And from a very high level, there's a couple of things I think that have been done in response to some of the inquiries and some of the comments that I'd like to highlight in particular. At the upper parking area, we've added additional first flush sediment traps in the way of some pea stone diaphragms, and those are in a couple of different locations. Lainey, actually, if you're able to share the overall plan, at least people would be able to see the geographic area that I'm talking about. So that's great. I trust that folks can see that now. We've converted all of the DMHs that are along the main entry drive, which is labeled by right-of-way on this particular diagram, to catch basins with deep sump and hoods. And this is providing additional TSS removal. We've revised the boardwalk alignment and the overlook in order to avoid additional trees. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
I'm sorry,
And
Jean.
we've,
Jean,
oh, sure.
if you can just speak up a little bit, it's a little difficult to hear you.
Okay, very good. Gosh, I feel like I'm shouting, but I'll try to do that. Okay, and please raise a hand or just interrupt again if I'm speaking too softly. And then we're mitigating whatever work that we've been identifying in the 25-foot zone, the 50-foot zone, and of course the 100-foot buffer zone, primarily through additional planting of trees, both evergreen and deciduous, and understory shrubbery. And then I think everybody's aware that we've made some fine tunes to a really, really robust stormwater management system in relation to some of the comments that we've had from the town engineering department. So with that in particular, in regard to some comments from engineering, everything had been resolved to their satisfaction with the exception of 4 very minor items. And we've been in contact already with responses on these 4 very minor items. And I think that we're in complete alignment now. One of the questions was whether in fact the plans were consistently showing the deep sumps with the hoods. And in fact, they are. So we've clarified that. And there was a comment about the stormwater capture structure, number 1 versus number 2. There's a little bit more water that's actually flowing into structure number 2. We've adjusted our calculations in response to that, and the structure is able to accommodate that in very good order. And then there was an underdrain referenced on one plan. It was a rogue underdrain. It's not part of the project. It's being deleted, and that was in response to a question from engineering. And there was an indication from engineering that we should include, again, a sump in the most westerly trench drain that's shown on the site plan. And in fact, we are doing that as well. So those were comments from engineering that came in just a couple of days ago, June 14th. And then Delia, you shared a couple of thoughts just yesterday with us in response to the latest information that had been provided. One of them was about the boardwalk encroaching a bit into the 50-foot no-build zone. And in fact, we are encroaching by 23 square feet. It's not requiring excavation. And we're doing it in order to avoid trees, get the length of ramp we need to accomplish the grades we need to meet in order for this to be ADA compliant, and to have something that's aesthetically compelling. So in fact, we are 23 square feet into the no build zone. And we're proposing to mitigate that with some additional planting. And you also made a comment about the lifeguard shed. In fact, under current conditions, that is also in the no build zone. We were shifting that a little bit to accommodate the geometry of the boardwalks. And a little bit more of that is in that zone under the proposed condition. we're not considering it a permanent structure. There's no foundation. It rests on concrete blocks, and it's within an area that's really beachfront with little or no disturbance that's resulting from that situating of the structure in that particular location. Are people hearing me okay? Should I continue on, or should I stop the flow for questions? I was going to speak for just a couple of more moments.
I think it's fine.
Okay, very good. It's one of the things about doing this virtually. It's hard to read people's expressions and see if anybody's raising a red flag or anything like that.
How many, excuse me, how many
Please.
trees total will be cut down at this current plan?
Yeah,
The
let's-
current pla-
let's save questions until after the presentation and the commission has had some.
Oh, I thought
comments.
he just offered to allow us a question. He just said,
No, not
could I
this
pause
time.
for questions?
No, just if the commission or Delia had a question. That's
Yeah,
what-
forgive me, I was speaking to the
Excuse my
commission.
interruption. I
Yeah.
heard
No
questions.
problem, no problem.
Okay. So on June 7th, we actually submitted the formal waiver request for both the nose disturb zone, the 25-foot no disturb zone, the 50-foot no build zone, and the 100-foot buffer zone, indicating the impacts within those areas and proposing that the mitigation be in the form, again, of a very ambitious and aggressive planting program that includes native deciduous trees, evergreen trees, and understory shrubbery. And then we also, on June 7th, submitted a rather detailed response to letters or emails that had been received from multiple abutters to the White Pond swimming amenity. And, you know, kind of a high level summary of that. We've provided information in that submission in regard to the boulders that are being used. And yes, these boulders are being placed within the zones that fall under jurisdiction of the Natural Resources Commission. But they really match boulders that are out there under current conditions, if in fact they're not actually boulders that are already out there. There was a suggestion to change from a fixed canopy to a lighter canopy. We've gone to a fabric canopy. We've adjusted the railing system on the decking and the boardwalk system and the overlook so that it's not a heavy wooden rail system, but it's a much lighter cable style railing. We have adjusted boardwalk as requested by multiple residential abutters, again, in order to avoid the need to remove additional trees. So we are down to the removal of 9 trees under this total program across the breadth of the project improvement area. We've modified a stone retaining wall that's shown very central to this view right here. It's that trapezoidal shape by installing a bench that is on the front face of the stone retaining wall. So it reduces visual impact and provides value in the form of seating. We eliminated a staircase off of that overlook as one of the abutters suggested. The staircase is provided over adjacent to the drop-off area. So those were some of the changes that were in response to some of the abutter questions. And then just today, we received some questions from another abutter. There were 4 comments. One had to do with the color of the asphalt pavement. I will just say that asphalt pavement fades very quickly. And in our opinion, based on leaf litter and so on and so forth, it's going to blend into the ground surface of this woodland landscape quite readily and in very short order. There were some comments about planting within the jurisdictional zones and a suggestion that some of the trees that we were identifying may have conflict with existing vegetation. Lainey, I don't know if you can go to the last plan in this set. That is the landscape plan. And maybe zoom in a little bit down towards the beachfront. And one of the things you typically do on construction set of drawings would be indicate that the contractor or the landscape subcontractor is required to stake the locations of all the tree and shrub installations. That allows you an opportunity to shift slightly, typically, the location so that you're not immediately adjacent to another tree or a sapling that wants to be retained or a group of shrubs. So I would offer that in the form of a response to, if we have some amount of flexibility, I would take lead from you folks in regard to when it gets to the point that we would report back to you on having to adjust some of the vegetation installations. So that was a concern. It's impossible on a landscape plan of this nature to pinpoint precisely every single location of every single piece of vegetation that's being installed. So you have to reserve the right to shift slightly while maintaining the intent. And I think there was also a suggestion that some of the groupings of understory vegetation be shifted in order to better control views off premises to private abutter properties that are located to the left on this drawing. So I will come up for air now because I know that was a lot of information that I tried to share. Kate, is there anything that you think I'm omitting that you'd like to add at this point, or turn it over?
No, only that, you know, just to kind of couple back on what Jean said, I think more than probably any other project that certainly that I've worked on in the 7 years being in Concord, have really listened and tried to do our best to have the lowest impact as far as aesthetically and environmentally that we can, while also being compliant both with code, the Architectural Access Board and ADA, and then really trying to create the most robust stormwater management system, which we really hope will, you know, reduce the occurrence of the blooms that we're currently having, but all of the other things that happen in and around the pond that really work to harm the resource area. So the entire plan is with that in mind. We're not trying to have anything that is more showy or robust than what we have, but we also want to make sure that we're being responsible for the property.
Okay, thank you. Well, I guess I'll just kick it off as a quick comment, really for the commission in regard to that 50-foot no build zone. As I understand it, top of bank is somewhat, I guess, artificial, if you will, in terms of, I know that's Delia explained, that's really how the code reads, establishing the top of bank, but it seems like it does push it back further than it may normally otherwise be in terms of the water, the point of water. So it seems like you know, the incursions into the 50 by that 23 square feet and partially by the small building there seem like it's, at least in my eyes, given all the benefits of the project, and again, that top of bank location where it might be, you know, further towards the water, at least in my eyes, it seems like it's acceptable in terms of just balancing everything here. I don't know how just wanted to solicit the commissioners in terms of their perspective on that.
I'm sorry, could I just say something? So we
Sure.
took it upon us honestly as an educational exercise for us, myself, Ryan, and the rec department, to try to measure what we thought was the water line over the past 2 years when we had it. And we haven't actually come within 10 feet of the top of bank during the summer or swim seasons. Now that doesn't mean that we don't come into contact with that during the rainy season or when snow and ice comes there. We certainly haven't done our due diligence in mapping that out, but the idea was at the top of bank and going into that comes where the average is, as far as if you were in an assisted device, either wheelchair or some type of walking device, that you would be able to reasonably get to the water's edge. So I think it just speaks to your point, and I just wanted to let you know that we've tried to do some homework to try to figure out, you know, what is the average that it comes up during the summer months, and that's where we're at, where we've been at.
Thanks, Kate. Appreciate that perspective.
In that regard, I don't think it's overly germane to have a petitioner, to get in the habit of having the petitioner go out there and tell us where
Right.
anything is.
Yeah.
And no offense, Kate, I'm, that's not what I'm not in, I have no objections to what you're asking for. I think,
None taken,
I
don't
think the
worry.
overall benefit to the public ought to be brought into play here, and there's an overwhelming need to have this done, and I think we ought to just justify it along those lines. I don't know if a waiver is needed for this to
It was
speak to it.
provided.
It was, it's in there.
Yeah.
Then, I wouldn't want us to vote hanging our hat on,
Where?
well, our regulations say it starts here. Sorry,
Right.
guys, it starts here. And we've got 24 feet. I don't think we're gonna live or die on 24 feet.
I agree.
And the public benefit is certainly worth saving. If they've saved a couple of trees, my lord, inside the 25, we've come ahead. So I'd rather go that route as far as justifying our vote.
Yeah.
I don't know how others feel, but
I agree. I think the public benefit is the overwhelming factor in my mind for that.
No concerns from me.
Me neither.
Good, Gary. Okay. I didn't have any other particular perspective on it. It seemed like he, did a nice job, responding to the commentary, and, whether it was from Public Works or ourselves or, abutters. At least I can't speak to all the abutters, but certainly seems like you addressed a fair amount of those concerns. So,
the other thing I didn't quite get is planting the shrubs and trees. Are they coming back to us to say we're moving the blue spruce 3 feet? I mean,
No, I would
That's
see
a bit
that more as a
onerous.
pre-construction.
that would be your job.
Right.
yeah.
Right.
So if there's some slight field modifications that are
Then
necessary,
staff
just to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
that's
on
handled
staff
in the
level.
order of
The
conditions
implication that was
somewhere.
made.
Ah,
Yeah.
no,
So you
yeah.
have-
No, once they
sign
get
off.
staked, and if there's a conflict out there, I'm sure they'll give
Mhm.
staff a call and
Right.
make sure it's all
Good.
copacetic. Okay. Any other comments from the commission? Okay, we'll turn it over to any public comments in regard to this application. Delia, you see any?
I do not, but Jean, if you can stop the
Nick.
share on your screen.
Yeah,
Yeah, Nick
he had a previous comment.
It's about trees. Maybe
Yeah.
we've got
Can
answers.
Remind him now is the time.
Thanks, Laney.
Okay.
I have a comment.
Yes,
Carmen,
please.
Carmen Jacquier, 38 Shore Drive, formerly of the White Pond Advisory Committee. I really appreciate how you have adjusted down by the water with the pavilion and the walkways and the elevated wooden walkways and saving those large trees. That's really great to see. Thank you. Thank you, Kate.
You're more
Thank
than
you.
welcome. Happy to
Any
do
other-
it.
Any other public comment?
Nick Johnson from 38 Bolton.
Yes, Nick.
So does the commission, just from my understanding, is the commission the deciders on this, how this gets done? Public is just relying on them? Is that my understanding?
So there has been, this is Delia Kay, Natural Resources Director, and there has been a number of public forums where this project is being discussed. This is coming in front of the Natural Resources Commission because it is work within 100 feet of a wetland resource area. And so the approval that the Natural Resources Commission is giving is on the plans that have been presented and that are on our website and have been discussed.
No, I understand. You've done your due diligence. I understand these meetings have kept place. I'm only joining the meeting now, so, and I'm only a new resident now. So you can, save it. I totally get it. You guys have been on this. I haven't been present up until now. Fair point made. I'm just trying to ask the question, are these decisions made by the people we see before us? That's a simple question. Are they the deciders?
So, Mr. Johnson, I'm Kate Hodges. I'm the deputy town manager, and I'm the project lead for this. So, as admittedly as a new resident, you probably haven't been involved, but we accepted the gift of White Pond approximately 3 years ago, and so we've had the equivalent of maybe a dozen, and then another half dozen formal and informal public hearings where
I think you're just saying what she just said before. I just want to know, is the commission standing before us the decision makers for this? That's a simple question. It's not an
Yes,
attack.
for this application, we are the.
for the
decision makers.
application,
For-
yes. I'm trying to tell you, for the design that you're seeing in front of you, it has been a 3-year iterative process.
I'm aware of that. Yes, it has been brought to my attention as such. That's all I want to know.
Yep.
So I just want to know, like, so
We will be voting on their application in regard to what's in our jurisdiction adjacent to the resource area. this
and
year.
obviously these plans have been going on for a very long time, but so far it seems like there's been a much more recent change to those plans already. And I'm just asking a simple question. Do we have any say as the public? That's all I'm asking.
You have as much say as you'd like in regard to commenting on the plans in front of you or that have been posted to the NRC website. You're free to comment on any of those plans or application documents.
Okay, would it make any changes here today? Again, just a simple question.
Okay.
Mr. Do you have a specific comment that's with something within the 100 foot?
No, I'm just trying to understand. You guys said if there's any questions, I have a question. This is for my
Okay.
clarity as a resident. I have to live here. And other members of the public will come and visit here, and these are important decisions that you're making. I just want to understand how it works. I'm new to the area.
Sure. If you had something that you thought was egregious within the 100 foot or 50 foot or 20 foot, we would be more than happy to listen to that. We've made many changes because of
It
that.
sounded like you're borrowing 23 feet that were not allowed. Is that correct, Gene? Are you going 23 feet over?
No, I think
from a
no, I
certain
think
area?
there's
my mistaken.
no. It's not necessarily not allowed. It's within the purview of the
It's a policy.
commission.
It's a policy.
It's a policy, so the commission can look at all the benefits of the application and weigh those against that small incursion and decide that there's more benefit to allow that given the overall benefit of the project.
Okay.
So the commission has leeway in deciding those kind of.
Okay, so again,
Encouraging.
commission has the decision, nothing the public can really do or say, you're gonna go over the 23 feet.
So-
Again,
so
I don't know if it's a bad
I'm-
idea. I'm just asking the question.
I'm just gonna point out, Mr. Johnson, that this has been, as Kate said, this project has been reviewed by the public for at least over the past year. This
It has
been
this
in front of-
plan.
so- I'm sorry,
But has this plan?
this.
Yes,
project-
sir. Yes, it has.
If I
Yep.
could just finish.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Johnson.
there's no need to
Excuse
discuss
me,
it because
Mr.
it's already
Johnson,
been
if you would
decided.
just let me finish. This project has been in front of the Natural Resources Commission since April 7th. The plans are on the Natural Resources Commission website. They're available for review from the public. And people have been commenting, reviewing the plans. The commission has been reviewing the plans.
Yes,
So,
but. the commission
I'm
is
sorry
also
if you come
changing
in
the
late on
plans
the project.
Rather.
At this point, it's very close to being closed. Unless there's some issue that you see, that you would like to see changed on the plan, it's very late in the process.
Okay, that's the answer I wanted to hear. Thank you. I don't have any other questions. It's been decided.
Thank you.
I see your hand up from
Oh.
Maria.
Maria, please unmute yourself and name and address and ready to go.
Hi, this is Maria Piasecki, and I live at 28 Shore Drive, and I'm in a butter. Just 2 items. I sent Delia an email. I just looked at everything today, kind of late. Apologize for that. And I misread the plans. I saw the additional planting and trees down by the shore. You mentioned that you were adding trees down near the shore to balance out the deck incursion into the no-build zone. And I thought that those are being added for screening by our house, which is near the upper access area. And be that you sort of alluded to this earlier, but I just wanted to be sure. I suggested you add some planting on a ridge that is right in line between my house and the walkway across and the access area. And I sent Delia a sketch of this. It's bare ridge right there. It'd be like a good spot to add some instead of seeing my house when you're there, you will see some nice evergreens instead, and I won't see you. Anyway, I was suggesting you add that there, and I'd mentioned about planting, I guess at a meeting earlier, but it might have been gotten lost in all that has happened since. That's one item. You mentioned that I believe the Weston and Sampson engineer architect mentioned that things could be adjusted a bit. And I just thought that this is maybe a little bit more than a minor adjustment. So I thought I'd just bring it up. Because then maybe that's considered a design change. And I thought maybe for I don't know, you can decide, but that's what I'm bringing up. And the second item is I sent Dilly an email. I was looking over it, and I apologize for this. I had one of the trees that there's one 12-inch additional tree that I thought had been removed. There were 4 trees there. I thought there was a 5th, and it is right near where the deck is. And I had sent her a sketch earlier today about that. So I wanted to come clean and just follow up. I sent something earlier, and I want you to be aware of that. That's something you should know. So Dealey, maybe you could add to that. Apologize for putting you on the spot if I am.
I'm not trying to cut you off, Myra, but I want you to know that the 5th tree, Ryan Orr, our facilities director, was down there setting up for the beach area and noticed a hole in the tree. And then upon further inspection, noticed that it was hollow from the ground up, and it had to be removed. And I will ask Ryan to forward you the pictures because it was the most remarkable and scary thing that I've seen in a very long time. But that is why you're seeing only the 4 down there, is because that one had to come down.
I was feeling guilty because okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know all about it. You're on top of it. Now I can sleep at night tonight. So that's what I'm, okay, that's fine.
So Ryan's just trying to say.
Yeah, I don't, I mean, I can send you the pictures, but if you go down there, the stumps
No.
the stumps are still there. We're actually probably gonna have to backfill one of them because it's probably about a 3-foot hole into the ground. But you can certainly go down and see how large the holes were inside the trees by the stumps that were left behind. But if you'd like pictures, I can certainly forward them over too.
No, I take your word for it. You're on top of it. That's fine with me. Because then you get your little look out there and your angle on the pavilion, so people could stand there and look out, and people can pass right behind. So that's fine. That's fine. Okay, I got it.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none. I think are we looking for a motion to close this evening and with the idea of order of conditions on July 7th? Okay.
I make a motion to close the hearing on DEP file number 1371559.
Second?
Thank you, Nick. On the vote. Greg?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Thank you all. Hopefully we'll have that prepared for the July 7th hearing.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
all of the input.
And
Appreciate
good
it.
evening.
Thank you. Don't know which way to look.
Yeah.
Okay, next continuance, let's see, 399 Lowell Road, DEP file number 137-1546. And Julia, you're going to be discussing that with us this evening?
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone.
Just before you start, Julia,
Sure.
I'm going to recuse myself from this. I don't think I have to leave the room. I think it's a minor thing,
I
but
think so. Okay, thank you, Greg.
There we go.
All right, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, again, just like the last presenter, I had no idea that you guys were meeting in person or I would be there, but I'm so used to Zoom that this was just, what we did. Anyway, so thank you for putting up with the remote presentation.
Not at all.
So as you remember, I hope, we have a very messy, invaded part of our 4-acre site that is in back of our, finished lawn area. And it was already built and used probably, I don't know how many years ago, but it's just very overgrown. It has an old pool foundation and a building foundation. And we would really like to clear as much as we can for a meadow, and then also take down this started with this downed treehouse that you see in the upper left corner, where a treehouse took 4 trees down. So, and it's a big mess with boards and nails and everything. We'd like to just, even though it's in the no disturb zone, we'd like to just clear that. And then we got thinking, we had already planned for a meadow up to the woodland, existing woodland, but that existing woodland is really full of pachysandra and garlic mustard and all kinds of invasives. And we'd like to bring that wood line back to where you see the little green circles. I'll explain the entire planting list, but those are basically where we'd like to put some flowering trees, crabapple and or hawthorn, whatever's available, and low bushes. And then in back of that, this whole area to be cleared is with the black dots. That would be in back of that red area, which is you can't see my cursor, right? I'm sorry, I'm outlining it on my own screen. But the outline, the dotted red area would be the meadow. And then the black area is the area that needs to be cleared of invasives. And at the same time, there are some hazardous trees and dead trees and trees that we'd like to take out to clear the meadow. So we have a list of trees that we'd like to take out and a list of mitigation. We have, in the last meeting, the NRC asked us to have a consultant on board. So we hired Oxbow, and they have come up with an invasive plant management plan, which you should have gotten a copy of. Talks about existing conditions and the primary invasive plants, including bittersweet, multiflora rose, buckthorn, burning bush, garlic mustard, pachysandra. What we plan to do, it says the applicant has agreed to remove the invasive vegetation using a mix of selective herbicide, not at first. At first, we're going to be doing mechanical removal. And so the sequence will be identifying the limits of the work areas, flagging any native species to remain, installing an erosion control barrier, similar to what we had for our construction, only along, probably along the top of the site there, which is along a man-made ditch, which is causing the wetlands buffer zone. Proceeding with mechanical removal and cleanup of slash, which ideally, if we can get approved, would be mid-growing season this summer, late summer. And then 4, all invasive materials removed during the invasive species management process should be disposed of. It will be disposed of off-site, so that will not allow their regrowth and spread. And then selectively applying an herbicide to freshly cut stems. In the late summer this year, we would, or the Oxbow, I'm sorry, would assess the area for resprouting and reapply the herbicide as needed. He's saying using a spray with a spray shield, or cut stems and apply concentrated herbicide to freshly cut stems. I would prefer not to do the spray if we can possibly avoid it. So we will, if that happens, it would be minimal. And then after removal work is complete, they will provide a summary report within 30 days. And then late fall is the best time to apply seed mix. I'm sorry, Delia, I did not get you the right seed mix. I do have it right here. I can share my screen and you can see it. Scott Smyers from Oxbow gave me Massachusetts, New England Conservation link. And so there are two wildlife mixes that we'd be using that are native. One would be a showy wildlife, or not wildlife mix, that's the other one, I'm sorry. A showy wildflower mix, and then the other one is the New England wildflower mix. So I think one just has more seed, but it's basically little blue stem, red fescue, Indian grass, partridge pea, Canada wild rye, Virginia wild rye, blue verbena, milkweed, narrow-leaf blue-eyed grass, black-eyed Susan, New England aster, spiked gay feather, marsh blazing star, calico aster, goldenrod, hollow stem Joe pieweed. So
Julia,
those are all-
that is awesome. If you can just email that to us, so
Sure.
we can
Yeah,
just stick
happy to do
that's
that.
exactly what we're looking for, is just a native seed mix. So
Okay, yeah.
just email that so that we have that, and you should be all set.
You bet. Okay. And what else? And then during the next 2 years, during the next two growing season, Oxbow Associates would conduct an assessment and spot treat invasive sprouts as needed for us. And they will coordinate and guide supplemental removal efforts with the applicant with a target of 10% or less cover by invasive plants, and provide a summary report after each monitoring assessment. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Are you interested in the tree list? I showed that last time.
No, I think
I can show it
we're
again.
set there. Staff's good.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Julia. I just a couple quick notes. Delia, you had noted that, I know Julia said that the invasives would be taken off-site to a composting facility. You say it, just in the notes, I see a designated composting facility. Are there concerns there?
No, so I think as long as, Julie, if you do the invasives removal yourself, you can take them to the old landfill. If you have a contractor do it, they just have to dispose of them properly off-site.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You mean the landfill over by Walden Pond?
Yes, we have a
And-
designated invasives bin,
Oh, good.
but
Okay.
just for
got it.
residents. A contractor can't use that.
Okay. Great.
Any other comments from the commission?
No.
Okay. Any comments from the public in regard to this application? Okay.
I
So
guess
hearing,
one question, do
Yes.
we need a condition about she was talking about trying to avoid spraying the herbicide in the cut stem application? Is it okay if,
So typically, the commission does not allow foliar spray, so you can just prohibit that.
and so is that something, I mean, she's sort of expressing a preference to avoid spraying herself, but do we want to have that as a condition, or do we?
Yes,
One way.
Julia, are you okay with just having that as a condition? It's typically not something that's permitted, so. just to-
If it's generally not permitted, yeah, I mean, if you do permit it, I wouldn't mind having the option in case there's, an area that's sort of a mass area, but
So
But
I
if-
think,
but if
I
you-
think I would recommend that the commission just have it so that is targeted with a shielded spray.
mhm.
yeah, and used minimally only if necessary.
Okay. So I think we have a special ready to go on this evening.
We'll just modify that.
Yeah, we can add that.
Yeah, it just will modify the existing condition. There's no additional
Ah,
condition. that you
okay.
need to approve. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Does someone have that handy? Ah,
No.
you. Is this the, or is that the first one? Ah. Okay. So which one is? Did you? Okay. Who would like that? Nick? Sure. All right, thank
You
you.
have to write in this condition on shielded spraying.
I think you said we're okay with
We're
that.
okay with-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I move that we close and issue order of condition, yes, order of conditions for DEP file number 1371546, which is 399 Lowell Road, with finding A, special standard conditions 1 through 19 and special conditions 20 through 53.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. And the vote, Nick,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
Greg?
Thank
Yes, thank you. And I am an aye. Thank you, Julia.
Well, thank you all very
Good luck
much.
with the project.
Thanks. We'll let you know how it goes. I appreciate all your work.
You bet. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, next up, notice of intent, 455 Bedford Street, DEP file number 137-1561. And then, Kristen, are you here this evening?
Yeah, I'm here.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay, that is definitely not my project. So I'll just wait.
Can you see that, Kristen?
So I'm seeing the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail.
Okay. So I apologize.
That's okay.
I'm.
Okay. All right, so based on the feedback from last time, I haven't made many alterations, but there were a few. The first was that the driveway, I made an effort to shift it towards the house as much as possible. It would improve access in and out of the garage if I can move it that way. Gets it a little farther from the wetland, but I cannot move the entrance to the driveway any further. In fact, that may shift. I'm just waiting for input from the engineering, but this is as far as I can shift it. The other thing I've learned is that yellow area, we can put the driveway on top of the leaching field, but now we'll have to do some additional piping with a vent to allow us to move the driveway further on top of the leaching field. It's really very simple. I'm just indicating where it might be located, not where it specifically will be located. I don't know. I'm waiting for the septic engineer to identify a location for this vent and the piping. But it should not be a significant intervention. It's just going to go somewhere in that area. So that's what I'm showing on that plan. I don't know if that's sufficient for you at this time.
I think for now it is, but Kristen, you're going to provide an engineered drawing that will just
Yes.
clarify all of these items that might be a little bit, tiny bit up in the air at this moment, right?
Yes, so I'm working, it's very hard to get an engineer right now. So I'm working to get an engineer to do to complete the topographical survey. That way I can finish the grading on that area. And they'll locate the pool relative to the wetland flag. I mean, relative to the wetland boundary and, you know, place it. So it's definitely, you know, at the dimensions that I've identified on this drawing.
And you
Yeah.
have
so-
somebody that you were working with previously on this, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So I had to, he's a civil engineer. I wasn't sure if he could do the topographical survey and do all that. He can, so it looks like we can move
Licensed
forward with
engineer.
it.
You'd be able to.
Yeah, no, I wasn't sure if he could do the site plan for the town because he's not a surveyor, but he says he thinks he can. So,
Well, based on the
That's-
other plan we saw, seemed like a good civil engineered plan. I think that would be fine.
yeah, so that's what the surveyor who did the original plan for us couldn't prepare the rest of the plan. So I'm hoping that this person can do it all.
Okay. Great.
So that's the plan. So he
Should be
will
fine.
also, these calculations are all based on my geometry, and he will clarify, double check all of my calculations and right, and do all of that. So it'll all be in an engineered drawing. I probably won't have that for you know, a month or so, but that's the earliest I can do, but that's the plan.
So that means we'd probably have to continue out.
Okay,
on the
that's fine.
7th. Okay.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so I will just continue out until I'll let Karen know when I have a better understanding of what the timeline is for that.
So we should continue you to a date certain.
Yeah, so probably what's after the 7th? Is that the
21st, July 21st.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, we shoot for that, and if it becomes problematic, we can continue.
What if I could get it done before then?
Oh,
Sure.
that's,
So if you can get it done, if you want to be at the
That's
July 7th meeting, that means submittal by June 25th.
Oh, okay, so it's every other, so it'd be July 7th or July 21st. So let's say July 21st. then.
Okay.
Makes
and
sense.
That means your
Yeah.
materials would be in July 9th.
Okay, ooh, okay. All right,
everybody's busy.
yeah, really.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great.
I just want to make sure. Kristen, anything else you'd want to?
No, I just I had updated the impervious calculations, but that will obviously be updated by the engineer. I added the information, and I'll make sure he does that about the existing patios so that that's you know, registered on the drawing. And I had a conversation with Delia about erosion control. I have it around it's interesting to me to understand where the limit of work is. You know, whether that planting in the 25-foot zone counts as area of work, or whether I keep the limit of work really in that 50-foot zone, and there's just sort of a minimal amount of work done in that 25-foot zone.
So ideally, what you would show, Kristen, is that you have at your actual limit of site work, you put an erosion control barrier there. And
Right.
then also install one at the base of where you're doing the plantings and the
Okay,
invasive.
so I
species.
did
Yep.
indicate that on this drawing. I have
Right.
2 areas. Okay. Right. So I think that's everything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I think you hit all the high notes, at least from my recollection, in terms of the breakdown of the areas and, you know, and so on. So I don't have any further questions. Any of the commissioners?
I just had a question for Delia actually about the plant spacing recommendation. What does that mean exactly?
5 foot on center.
Yeah, what does that mean exactly?
So it means that you would, assume that a shrub planted 5 feet on center would occupy a
Oh, okay.
25, you know, I mean, if you did
Okay.
the pi r squared, it's slightly different.
Got
But
it,
just
got it,
assume
got it,
it's,
got
you
it.
know,
Okay.
5 squared, that or that area
Yeah.
is what encompasses a full-grown shrub.
Okay, thank you.
So a smaller shrub, like, you know, an Ilex verticillata, you plant 3 feet apart, which is pretty
Yes.
close. They're going to get quite large, but it allows them to grow together. A
Yes.
rhodi maxi gets quite large, and so
Hmm.
those can be spaced further apart. And Lindera benzoin spice bush is also gets quite large.
Okay. We'll move to public comment. Any public comment regarding this project? On here. Okay, no
right.
public comment, so we'll plan on continuing to the 21st of July.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Have a
Thanks so
good
much.
night.
Sorry,
Thank you.
21st?
I thought so.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I wrote it down wrong. Thank you.
Yeah, the 21st.
Okay. Thanks, Kristen.
Thank you, Delia. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to new applications. We have Town of Concord, Bruce Freeman Rail Trail Phase 2C, file number 137-1564. And who will be discussing that with us this evening?
Good evening. This is Matt Kearney from Greenman Peterson. I'm the design engineer. I have Laura Kraus.
Little louder, Matt.
Hey, Matt,
please.
could you speak up, please?
Sorry, this is Matt Kearney from Greenman Peterson, the design
Better, thank you.
engineer. I'll be giving the overview, and Laura Kraus from Beta Group will be providing the environmental information. So this project was originally permitted as part of the Phase 2C of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail project that has currently been built through Concord. And this portion was deemed not to be built in order to end at a terminus at Powder Mill Road at the culvert there. So this portion was permitted back in 2015 with the rest of the project, but we didn't notice the expiration date of the NOI. So we are looking to permit just this portion again, which will be constructed with the Sudbury portion as they proceed with their project. It's a half-mile project. It's going to be similar to the rest of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail through Concord, with a 10-foot paved path, 2-foot dense graded crushed stone, fencing along the trail as needed. And it's along the White Pond, and we're looking to get a ornamental fence constructed in that area as requested by the abutters. That's a general gist of the project. So Laura, I'll let you get onto the environmental portion.
Absolutely. I'm going to share my screen. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, great. And can everyone see my screen? Good.
You've got a
Great.
picture of White Pond,
Yeah.
we do.
Perfect. So yeah, so I'm showing the site locus. So as Matt said, the project is going from Powder Mill Road to the Sudbury Town Line. And in terms of resource areas, there's 2 primary areas along the project that are of concern. The first is White Pond, and then the second is this certified vernal pool located here. These areas will be protected using erosion controls consisting of compost filter tubes and silt fence. We did add some additional silt fence to the erosion control detail per the request of Delia, because the slopes are pretty steep out there, so that will provide some additional protection. The trail also travels through mapped habitat, and we did file with MESA, and we did get a no adverse effect determination from them. So as you can see from the project plans, the project is within the buffer zone to White Pond, as well as the 50-foot no build zone to White Pond. And I'm gonna switch to plan set here so you can see what I'm talking about. The blue plus signs are the work within the 100-foot of White Pond, and then this pink area here is within the no build zone to White Pond. The total impacts to buffer zone are 8,177 square feet, and the impacts to the no build zone are 228 square feet. Those impacts are associated with installation of a ornamental fence, slope grading and landscaping, as well as planting, and then erosion control installation. So that work is all temporary within the no build zone for the no build zone to White Pond. As I said, the project is also within the buffer zone to the certified vernal pool and vernal pool habitat. The project does encroach on the 25-foot no disturbance zone by 110 square feet. Again, that work is also temporary. The work is associated with grading and installation of erosion controls. There's a 2,131 square feet of impact to the 25 to 50-foot no build zone. Those impacts are associated with 115 linear feet of the trail, as well as the shoulders, grading, construction of a drainage swale, and an installation of erosion controls. And then in total, the impacts to the vernal pool habitat on the property is 6,180 square feet. And that includes the impacts to the no build zone and no disturb zone. As the bylaw allows, the bylaw allows construction of publicly maintained trails that restrict motorized vehicles, which this project is that type of trail. So, you know, the project wouldn't be subject to the presumption that the work in the buffer zone would impact the resource areas. However, we have requested waivers for work within the 25-foot no disturbance zone, 50-foot no build zone, and the 100-foot vernal pool habitat. We provided an alternatives analysis showing that the project is located in the best location to minimize impacts to resource areas and to wildlife habitat throughout the corridor. By shifting it further away from the vernal pool and from White Pond would have resulted in substantially more clearing and more impacts to actual habitat that species are using, whereas we centered it on the existing rail bed to minimize the amount of grading needed for the project, as well as minimize the clearing necessary as well. So as part of our request for a waiver, we did discuss this being a public benefit project. It will connect the terminus of phase 2C that has already been constructed with phase 2D within Sudbury. It's a really important connection between those two areas, and there's no real good way to bike around it safely on the roadways. So from a resource area perspective, I believe that is it. I also wanted to point out that Marcia Rasmussen from the planning department is here as well, as the proponent of this project.
Thank you. Having looked at the set of plans, my only comment really is I thought it was a very good set of plans. All the details seem to be tight. They all seem to correspond with the plan itself, the cross sections. It was very clear, and I thought the waivers were well thought out and well written. So I frankly don't have any comments of significance on the application this evening. Do any of the commissioners have any comments? Nick?
Yeah, I just had a question about the vernal pool. Is there any ongoing monitoring? It's a delicate area, and I'm wondering if there might be unintended problems that pop up down the road that could be corrected if the situation were monitored.
So I guess I'll jump in on that. Delia, Natural Resources Director. So we did do a big night way back, like in 2007, to see what vernal pool species were moving where. I would have to go back and see whether we saw critters moving from that vernal pool, Hartley Pond. We did from the vernal pools north of Powder Mill. I remember that, but I don't remember if we saw them. If we did, it was wood frogs and spotted salamanders. And we had Brian Windmiller look at it to evaluate whether or not the rail trail being paved would be problematic. And he took a look and he sort of said, they're going to cross anyway. And the activity, the daytime activity is not going to be problematic. These species are crossing at night. So, on roads, I think it's always good if there's, the bucket brigades with the salamanders being moved across because cars are going, all night long. But with the rail trail, there shouldn't be a lot of activity when the vernal pool season.
And no concerns about any changes in the water drainage and that's effect on the pool or anything like that? Okay.
Thank you. All right, moving to any public comment. Any public comment in regards to this application? Okay, seeing none. Greg, I think we're looking for the same motion to close.
I'll make a motion that we close the hearing this evening on turn my page, DEP file number. DEP file number 1371564.
And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. In the vote, Greg,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Gary,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you
a
very
good
much.
evening.
All right. Let's see. Put my glasses on. Let's see. We have DEP file number 137-1567, 209 Musterfield Road.
Good evening.
Good evening.
It's great. I know I cannot use it because I just find it out. We have an electronic copy mailed in, but we didn't mark it. So I just marked by pen and try to email a photo to Colleen. I don't know if it worked or not. So if I can have a. Let me see. I can try again.
Is it substantially changed from what we already have?
No, it's just colored.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. We can use the one we have.
Yeah.
Let's look at it.
Yeah.
Nice
Yeah.
color, but I don't need it.
Yeah. Are you trying to forward that to
Yes.
Delia? Okay. Yeah, I would think it's.
See if it works. But yeah, I can use the black and white.
That's fine.
It's
Sure.
exist-
Okay,
That's
so
fine.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. I for some reason have two screens.
Do you have a laser pointer for him?
Yes, I do.
Next time I was trying to, I used to have one. It's just the first time getting.
We're a little rusty here with the laser pointer and whatnot.
Hey, just trying to,
I know, that's a good point.
trying to
Bring it back to life.
get the dog in the house and go to bed, you know?
Oh, there you go.
I can walk to the.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a plan.
There we go. There we go.
Look at that.
Someone under 30s at the controls. There we go. Oh.
Standard 30. Don't argue with that.
That's right.
I have some color there, it's just made it a little bit more, so. Not that no one can copy
calm.
my person, so I can
There
do a
goes the
little bit
microphone.
kindergarten work, so.
Still don't have the email, so I don't know if you just want to start.
Yeah, maybe kind of
Yeah,
slow right now.
Just
Okay,
go
so
for it.
the
Yeah,
slow that must-
We've
Yeah,
all
go-
seen it.
Yeah, go ahead. You can,
Okay, yeah.
you can go ahead.
Yeah, Dustin Wang from Creative Land and Water Engineering. Haven't been here for a while. And so
Oh,
this is
there's-
existing
So
single.
if you wouldn't mind just speaking close to the microphone. It's the same, which is
If you want to get.
You're welcome to sit down,
Yes,
have, join us.
you can sit down and point to that and speak into the
Okay,
microphone
I
if you
don't want
like.
to block that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, it's over here.
Yeah, right.
All right. Is this one? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. somehow.
We haven't figured out
I have-
everything just yet.
Yeah,
This is
yeah, I
the
have-
first one,
I
so.
have to talk in here, but I have to look at here. I don't know. I get to be have I put something in my back of my head so I can. Or maybe I look at there. So
yeah.
I have to have like.
Doing great.
Yeah, so the Sheng and then Peter Fallon from so Fallon Custom Homes and so as applicant. So this is existing. Trying to
On the side.
on the side. Want to make sure.
There you go.
I want to point to you. So there's existing house in like a light shade, and you can see the existing edge of the clearance right now. So this is all existing clearance. So the dark solid is the wetland line, and the first dash line is the 25-foot no disturb zone, and then the 50-foot no field zone. And then we have a 75-foot, and then this is a 100-foot buffer zone. So the entire proposed work, except the septic leaching field, is all side of the 100-foot buffer zone. So we counted in the area, I called 9 trees will be removed in the 50 to 100, and then in the new one, we probably can even save 1 more. So reduce to 8. And then 5, I used that one because it's closed. So I said, well, it will cut, but we're going to save. So the cross with the circle around it is the trees we're going to save. And then we can propose 10 trees to mitigate. So 2-inch caliber, or so around area, some, around the cleared leaching field, and all around in the space between trees. In this, actually the woods is between the cleared area, and so there's like a tree buffer between the existing house and it must be a farm, and people cleared it around it. You can see this area is all existing clearance, including probably part of the wetlands, because it's stock fence goes through the wetlands. You can see it. So hopefully that one can be eliminated under the proposed condition. So, so the new house is all out, and we are going to cut some trees in all side of the upland, all side of the buffer zone area. So you can see all the trees, and all the trees are labeled and surveyed. So with all the caliber or the chest high diameter size. So that's what the project in general will guard it pretty much at the limit of work outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. You can see the seal fence go around the project site. So for the erosion control, but most of the work is pretty much in the existing house area. So, or upgrading of it. So that's basically the project. There's no disturbance in the 50-foot no disturb, no build zone. So it feels very limited impact. So I'm just trying to, here I understand the trees after I talked to Colleen on the tree mitigation. So we added this information on the email in. So yeah, I would probably address questions. So see what the concern. I would suggest that we can condition for the mitigation planting, because we are really quite a far away from the wetlands. So the wetland is flagged by Dave Burke. So he was like due to some health issue or something, we couldn't get him here today.
Okay. And just to clarify, you said there's 9 trees to be cut, and then your second notation was 5 were going to be saved?
Right, right.
So is it so within the 50 and within, is it a total of 4 trees? That
14, no, total 14.
Originally 14 and now 9.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we after we look at it, we don't have to cut 14.
Okay.
We just save 5 or even 6. So
okay.
So ideally, what would be good to show on the plan is how you're going to perform the tree protection.
Right.
And then what tree mitigation you're going to put in place.
Right, we probably need to look at what the tree's going to be cut. From what we,
Right.
the correction is all kind of hardwood, but so, and we will replace in kind, probably oak
With
or maple.
natives,
Right,
yes,
yeah,
native
yeah,
species.
Right.
So if I may ask, so you're going to save 5 of the 14 that you were going to cut? Because I'm just looking at this picture
Right,
and there's obviously more trees than that number, but that's
yeah,
throughout the whole area.
that's
there were
correct,
14,
right,
yeah.
yeah,
Within
there's,
jurisdiction.
Got
right,
it,
there's
got it,
outside
got
of the jurisdiction area, there's much more trees.
Okay.
Right, and that we are dealing with DPW, so it's a tree warden,
Okay.
Well, actually with the land manager.
land manager.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it-
yeah,
Right,
yeah.
in the setback zone, so that's a different issue.
Right. But you are doing a plan with him because it's in the tree setback?
Yes.
Yeah, they are doing that one.
There's two things happening. We have
Right.
a surveyor who is going to.
Just state
Could
your
you-
name.
yeah,
please.
Sorry, Peter Fallon, Fallon Custom Homes. We are gonna do a tree protection plan, which I should have by Friday. And the fence is being erected as we speak. So whatever gets decided here with the other trees, we can put the same steel fence, with the steel fence posts around to make sure they're protected.
Can I ask you, on the plan, why didn't you use a reserve area and just, wouldn't that have almost precluded you from having to be here?
So my client who grew up in Concord is moving back, bought this land that somebody else had already designed a septic system. So the holes are already dug prior to us being involved. We had no control over where the system was located or how it was designed. So
But if you just, but you could have, I didn't know whether it was a lawn, you didn't want to put the system there.
So the,
Or it was pre-existing. I thought it was almost
So that you-
pre-existing with
I'm
components
sorry.
that could be
Thank
saved. That's how I read
Thank
it.
you. Just because the microphone is up here.
Yeah.
so I can't really speak to why they dug the holes and did all the perk tests in those locations. But I think that the person that did it, I've had a long conversation with why he did that. And it was his observation, looking at the site with
Best
ledge
soils.
outcroppings,
Right.
the other involvement with trees, and we, had moved the house forward, so there will be more land behind the house, taking the existing house down. So not to go any closer to the wetland area.
Oh, no, I get it.
So-
I just thought it was,
Right.
the
I'm-
reserve area had deep holes in it and everything, you just,
You shift it there, you're,
yeah, you're
Good to go.
using somebody else's plan going forward because it already exists.
Right, so.
I just wanted to know the answer.
It was a good question, definitely. We thought about it.
Believe me, as soon as I saw what they purchased, I had all those same questions from the person.
Right.
And he walked the property, decided this is the most appropriate place to dig and do the perk testing.
Yeah, as a civil engineer, I probably can, but I didn't get involved with the soil testing. It's just sometimes you may have the area outside of the 100-foot buffer, but you could have bad soils, which doesn't. So that's probably he find the suitable soils right in that spot. That's all I can explain why he want to go into the buffer zone, because it looks like there's plenty area, but if he doesn't get a good soils, I have worked on like a 100-acre parcel. We only find like within like a less than half an acre area have the suitable soils.
Sure.
The rest of it, we can't do it.
But we don't know if he tested, did he perk test the reserve area or we don't know?
Looks like that he has.
I would
one
assume you
tested.
have to claim
Yeah,
it
he
as a
has
reserve
to.
area.
He has to have one, otherwise you cannot claim that as
Yeah.
a reserve area. So if you're looking at the two here, and 2 here, 1 here, 1 here.
They just wanted to come and see us.
Right, right.
It's a sense of humor
Yeah, we
test.
just
Yeah.
missing you guys, you know, so that's because after so long.
All right.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's already approved by the Board of Health. That's also another
Yeah,
like a
so
kind of
understood.
restriction, so.
It really kind of dictates the value of the land when you have an approved septic, but
I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you for the explanation. Any, Gary?
But, so yeah, I have a question about the tree mitigation. So just to clarify, it sounds like the current plan is to take 9 trees down
Right,
and you're replacing it with 10
right,
2-inch
calibers, yeah.
caliper
Right.
trees.
Right.
TBD, in terms of
TBD.
the species.
Right, but all right, I mean, that's not gonna fly with the tree protection plan. right?
So it's different, there's a different process.
I used to be on the planning board.
Right.
That's why I'm asking these questions, but hey, it's not my
So
jurisdiction.
in the setbacks where any trees are coming out, those will be replaced at a total caliper amount. The way that the NRC has always looked at tree replacements is if you plant a smaller tree,
Mhm.
you will end up with a faster growing and a more successful replacement tree. You won't have the same carbon sequestration, you won't have the same
Yeah, water
specimen,
retention.
you know, the commission can evaluate and decide if that's something that, you know, policy that you want to change in the future, but that's what the tree replacement policy is, and has been for a number of years.
In the setback, I mean, in the buffer zone, or I saw that the town have another setback zone tree.
Zoning.
Right.
So
Zoning
the-
has, right,
That's
that
part of the
one,
tree protection.
right, we
plan.
will have
That's a-
another one, yeah.
Yes.
This
Yes,
is just
yeah.
for this buffer
Okay.
zone.
That is
Yeah.
correct. Just
So-
for the bulk.
Yeah, this is just for the buffer zone. In addition to this, there will be more trees
Right.
to be planted in the setback zones.
I would
the zoning
defer
set.
to NRC custom on the mitigation.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll try to,
in this area, and
so
we
if
can
this
talk
part
later
is
about
agreed,
the
we will
conversation.
combine
Yeah.
this one and put it into the
Incorporated with the
incorporate.
total landscape. plan.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly.
Do
Okay.
you have a landscape plan?
So they're working on it, and I'm just a builder, so they have a
Okay.
landscape architect that they progressed, but I haven't seen a final plan, and obviously this is gonna play a
And this-
role in what happens.
Okay, so is that something that you're planning to share with the commission?
It can be
I have no
conditioned.
problem sharing.
Definitely.
If I had it, it would be here with me tonight. I would
So
prefer
this is
to
something
have
that
had it
will
with me.
continue out to the next meeting, the July
So-
7th meeting?
So the question I have, since all of the work on the house is gonna be outside the buffer zone.
Yeah.
If I were to apply for a building permit.
Yeah.
You would be okay with.
For a
letting that
demo,
go?
that's fine.
No,
Yeah.
the demo is gonna happen next week, because
Yeah.
we should get the permit for the demo tomorrow.
Yeah.
But what I'm hoping to do is if we, move this, whether it's the 7th or the 20th, I was hoping to start on the house, digging a hole and start the construction.
You can do any work outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. Once you have your tree preservation plan signed off,
Yes.
Then we do the
any
septic.
work outside of the buffer zone can occur without NRC approval. Septic is what is,
The only
and the
thing.
tree removal is what you need to get.
I'm concerned about the cart and the horse.
So you can,
If there's a question about, I know I have the health department's approval for the septic system.
Yeah.
So that would be all that would be required for me to apply for the building permit and go through the process.
So
You know my question is the,
you can begin construction on the house. You can, get your foundation permit and start that.
okay, okay.
You just can't do any work you can't do any work in the 100-foot buffer.
That I
zone.
understand. I
Yeah.
have no problem.
Right.
But
So-
you can get your foundation
We
permit.
can do all
you
the
can get
silt
started.
fence. I'm,
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy to do all the silt fence and all the preparatory work.
Yep.
Have you come and look at it.
Yep.
I have no problem with any of that. I just want to try to continue this process because
Understood. Yeah.
National Grid is what's delayed this thing so long.
Yeah.
What a
And-
surprise.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I don't even want to go.
Yeah.
So this is a fun meeting.
So in a way, if I understand right, it's basically we can almost clear up to the 100-foot buffer to get the D-box or the area, walking area ready. So just a way to clear this 9 or 8 trees, maybe after we go to the site, we may be able to save 6 of them, because I look at further, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this tree may be able to save. So because it's right at the thicket edge of it, but maybe will hurt the roots. So that's why I didn't try to save it. So
Sure.
I have to look at.
Right, I have an arborist that's already been to the site.
Okay.
So if we need to have some kind of written explanation, I could do that as well.
Thank
So
you.
I have no problem with.
It's just we need to get the
whatever's
species
required.
cleared,
Yep.
and then so we can propose the in-kind.
In
addition.
kind and the tree protection on the plans.
Right, right. So
Yep.
that one, they already have, you are going to have like a steel
Yeah.
fence, a chain link fence?
Yeah, well,
And-
steel fence is what's required for.
And we just want to see that on the plan for the trees that you're proposing.
Okay, so
Say
we need to
that-
probably,
Do the.
to get the detail to
Just the
me,
detail.
I put it into the
We've
plan.
been doing 1.5 feet per inch caliper.
Yep.
All of the. into the lines.
Yep.
Okay,
I didn't know.
that's what we're doing with the other fence.
Yeah, so right, I know what it is. I will
Chain
get
link.
that detail
So as
to,
long as you can get us that by next Friday
okay.
with your, if you can get that, is your landscape plan?
Unfortunately, again, it's out of my control.
Right.
And the clients live in California. She grew up in Concord and is moving back.
Mhm.
So the communication has not been
Yeah.
as simple, you know, in
Yep.
terms of Zoom meetings.
See if
and all
that's
that.
acceptable, maybe, Peter. I can go to the site. I'm a wetland scientist, so I can go,
The
I
answer
can
is I'm
check
probably
in the
not gonna
trees.
have it for you.
So I get the
That's
species
on July
and
for
the,
the
so,
landscape
and
plan
write it
completed or
down.
something to show you
So say it's
grading.
8 or 9,
Yeah,
cut down, right?
that's
So
fine.
say red maple, red oak, white oak, and, hickory,
Don't
whatever
think
it
so.
is.
5 days?
Then I can propose,
my
yeah,
advice-
Proposal for the replacement.
and the replacement, I will get, so we'll talk to
Mhm.
Peter, and then he can talk to, so the arborist, so if we all
Mhm.
agreed, so we want to be consistent on the tree plan and on this conservation plan,
Right.
we will incorporate the same tree protection detail
Yep, yeah.
add into this plan and plus the list of the
Right.
trees.
And
for
and
this- for the
from my
buffer.
perspective, if there's any intrusion into what we decide here, I'll come back again if the landscape plan is a conflict with any of this.
You'll
I'm-
have
So
to
do you
come
want to just leave this open until you've got your
Well-
landscape plan finalized?
That would be my preference, as long as I can get a building permit. So
Yeah, yeah.
You're fine.
So do you want to continue it to the
I would
Seventh?
continue to
To
the
the
7th,
7th, then we can
That's fine.
continue
and then
beyond?
if you need to continue
Okay.
again to the 21st.
maybe further along, I've been kind of excluded from those meetings, so I have a landscape plan that no one's approved. And I'm
That's
afraid
fine.
and reluctant to give it to you without any client approval.
Yeah.
No, makes sense.
Right,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
we can give them a feedback, just say, in this, just in this.
Right, well,
buffer
I've
zone
heard
area.
everything they said. I mean, I think we're clear what we have to do.
Okay,
So-
okay.
So if you're agreeable, we'll continue to the 7th.
No, thank you. Thanks for your.
Okay,
We'll continue to the
Understanding.
7th and
Yep.
let's see what we can do to get all the information.
That'd be
So,
great.
Yeah, I know, so the protection detail.
okay. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
Thank you.
So
Thanks
do
for
you
your
want
time.
to just sign? Yeah.
So for continuing to the 7th, when do they have to have materials?
Continuing to the 7th in by next Friday.
Next
And if
Friday,
not next Friday, Karen will send you another continuance.
okay, in a
the
week, right?
21st.
So basically, in
A week.
in a
9
week.
9 days.
Okay.
There you go.
That's good.
Yep.
You're good, you're out of here.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for the pointer.
Oh, you bet. Thanks for returning it.
Yeah, I usually have a habit to put it back.
That's everybody does.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on. 365 Commonwealth Ave, DEP file 137-1568. Concord Housing Authority. Evening.
Hi. Oh, sorry. No, it's good to go. My name is Nathaniel from Stamsky. I'll be talking about that one.
Thank you. You're
Okay.
free to go.
Okay. Should I share my screen, or are you guys taking care of that?
Sure.
Or okay. All right. Like I said, my name is Nathaniel. I'm from Stamsky McNary. I'm talking about the project at 365 Commonwealth. The vast majority of the property, except for like the very frontage of it, is within 100 feet of bordering vegetated wetland, which is located on the west edge of the property here. The property also is bordered by Warner Pond, so there's bank and land underwater associated with Warner Pond. There's also floodplain with a flood elevation of 123.8, and like I said, 100-foot buffer zone projects onto most of the property. This is a 1-to-10 scale plan, just to note, so it looks a little different. People are probably used to looking at 1-to-20 scale plans. The current property has a single family dwelling and gravel driveway, porch, concrete sidewalk, walkway, and other, like back stairs right here, other minor things. And the project is to create a second dwelling on the same lot as the first dwelling, which is shown right here. Also proposed is a paved driveway to serve that dwelling, a porch and a back deck, and a walkway connected to the existing sidewalk. Also proposed is utility connection. So the new dwelling will connect to the town water service in the street, and electric service is proposed off a utility pole right here. And the new house will also connect to the town sewer. We had consulted with the water and sewer department, and for this case, for 2 dwellings on the same lot, this is what they allowed. So the 2 sewer services will meet at a new proposed manhole, which is outside the 100, but this is where it is, and that will continue to the sewer main in the street. Over here, this kind of jutted line here, it's labeled as a brush line. We had gone, checked it out. A lot of it, it's very overgrown, invasive species, kind of like a mess. So as mitigation to offset the increase in impervious area, we're proposing to a 400 square foot area to remove invasive species and replant it with a wetland seed mix. So that's just in this area, that's 400 feet, which is proposed to offset the 389 feet of increase in impervious area within the 100 feet. However, there's no, that's just, designated, but also construction of the house and associated grading will, in results, remove a lot of the invasives that are there anyway. So total removal will be more than the noted 400 feet. And also I had mentioned the existing pavement right here that meets the trail is also proposed to be removed, which is why there's such a small increase in impervious area, because all this pavement, especially within the 100 foot, will be coming out. I think those are all the major points. I'm happy to take any questions.
Okay, thank you. So I think what's probably lacking from the plan is a, kind of a formalized mitigation plan by way of the invasives.
Mm.
So you have someone on board, or you'll be preparing that?
No, for now, we had just marked it as invasive removal and just wetland mix. We didn't have a specific like wetland scientist approved plan or anything like that, or a specific plan.
Well, I think we're going to need something that, kind of demarcates the invasive removal on the plan, whatever the 400 square feet is defined as. And then I think we're going to need, your protocol in terms of the, how you want to go about removing those invasives and so on. It's very, very typical on all any of the, invasive mitigation. And I think staff also had a comment in terms of trying to, once the project's done, kind of demarcating that area, so it's separated, so you know what you're mowing to and what you're leaving, etc. So whether it's pheno markers or some other kind of obvious demarcation.
Okay.
One other question is, well, I guess, so you're proposing a porous driveway?
Oh, is that right? I missed that.
I had a question about, I had a question because I'm a little confused. Could you point out the bike path that's being taken out? And because I'm trying to work out where the road is or driveway or whatever to get.
Oh yeah, so you want me to kind of show? Okay, yeah, so this is Commonwealth Ave. This heavy line here is the edge of pavement for Commonwealth Ave, or actually, well, that's the property line. This faded line here, edge of pavement right here, is the edge of Commonwealth Ave. Okay. I didn't say porous driveway. Sorry, I don't know if I misspoke. It's a paved driveway. That's right, this box right here. Yeah. And then the pavement that's being removed is this kind of curve up here, which meets the dash line, which is the trail. And that's being removed, but some of it is being overlapped with the walkway and driveway.
So
Where are the roof drain? What are you doing with roof water?
It'll be captured in gutters and sent down downspouts. No specific like mitigation for that.
So you're not doing any, the system is just going to drain onto the ground?
Yep.
No dry well or anything, or just?
Yeah, I would think some type of, French drain or some kind of, crushed gravel to.
Have you figured to keep? Have you done the math to make sure it stays on the lot?
It's not subject to a full stormwater analysis, so that's why there's nothing like that. But I mean, based off the grading, it fits into the natural grade as close as possible. So most of the runoff will follow the grades and head towards the west edge of the property, towards the pond or wetland.
It will be accelerated given the fact it's put in downspouts and whatever.
Right, and heading downhill. Right?
I mean, customarily, we would see that addressed as to what you're doing with that. I do commend you for not pushing the house right on the 50-foot line. This is the first one we've seen where you've actually kept it off at 50. I got to compliment you on that one. I mean, closer to the rail trail and everything, and you didn't push it away. Kudos, by the way.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well,
usually it's over and we push it back.
It's the same line as the house, right? Any
Yes.
other comments from the commission? Yes, Delia.
So I just have a question. So the application does state that it's a I think, I'm fairly certain the application states it's a porous driveway. So are you proposing it to be something other? Is it asphalt?
I'd have to check. I don't think I mentioned it was
Okay.
paved driveway. That's where you noted.
Okay. So can you just go back to the drawing for a second? Is it possible, the driveway just seems, is it possible to narrow it up at all, or?
I was going to say, what is the width of the driveway?
So it's 18 feet, which is pretty minimal to serve 2 cars. It's even smaller than this house's driveway.
Yeah.
So 18, you get 2 cars side by side. So.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the commission?
Other than, I think you do have to answer the drainage issue from the roof runoff, whether you put something under the driveway or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hadn't done anything specific because I'm assuming it'll be part of the like house architecture or something like that. But
yeah, it should be answered here. Yeah. So we'll move to public comment. Any public comment in regard to this application? Yes, please. If you could state your name and address.
Rick Eichler, 14 Pleasant Street. I'm the chair of the Concord Housing Authority. I don't know if anybody mentioned the history of this site. This is the little house that's being built at the request of the town meeting when the Grove Park was created. What happened is they drove park land, a little piece of it on Commonwealth Avenue was split off and joined to the Housing Authority property to build this tiny little house. And I don't know if you all have visited the site or not, but I have visited the site during heavy rainstorms, and I believe it's our intention anyway that the storm runoff will be improved by this property. The pavement that's being removed is the current driveway to the Giroux property. It's going to be used as the access road for the construction of Giroux Park Phase 1. So we really can't build this house until that project's complete. And then we are removing a significant amount of pavement, which is currently acting as a funnel in a strong rainstorm from Commonwealth Avenue down the driveway into Warner's Pond. So I think the focus on what we're going to do on tiny little square foot of rain runoff that's going to be running into the back and into our back lawn, which is pretty much level, probably will never make it to the pond. This is an affordable house. We're trying to do an affordable project, and to require anything expensive to deal with a minor amount of roof drainage, I think is a little bit of a misplaced focus. It kind of reminds me of going and visiting the parking lot that was built for the rail trail. They have this very fancy gravel catch basin thing.
I was there during a massive rainstorm. There wasn't a drop of water in it. All the water was rushing down Commonwealth, overrunning a storm drain that was supposed to take care of it, I think, running down the driveway into the dirt part of that. That's not so much a path as it's the driveway. And then it flows into the pond. So I'm hoping that in the regrading of that driveway, sorry about the service dog, who's not exactly a service dog.
Oh,
He
good.
did pretty well for a while.
Yeah.
So I would at least like the board to consider the fact that this is an affordable house and it's a very tiny house. Probably if it was a forest driveway, we probably wouldn't even have any increase, or we have almost zero increase in impervious. So I actually requested of the town to meet with them and review how the stormwater behaves on Commonwealth Avenue, because I think there's a whole lot of improvement here that could be made that is completely independent of building this house and having a little bit of slope roof that leads into a grassy back lawn. So I just want you to keep that in mind. I don't know what you were talking about in terms of how that rainwater ought to be captured as a fancy thing.
No, I don't think that's the commission's intent. I think it's just coming out of the rain leaders, got a little bit of velocity. It's dropping on the ground. Maybe it's just a simple, gravel catch.
Yeah,
That's all. Just
I
to
think
disperse
we
it.
need to have the answer to how you're handling it.
That's all. Nothing, no high technology,
We're
nothing
not putting a
expensive.
cistern in
No,
the
no
ground under
cistern.
the driveway in front of the property.
No.
Trying to get the downspouts to go the
No.
wrong way.
No.
You're just talking about something.
Yeah, it can daylight.
at the
It's just a
end
matter
of
of
the-
just kind of the impact of the water just being dispersed. That's all. A little more.
And
Yes.
part of that, from my perspective, is a comment on what you mentioned. Is the backyard flat and level? Because, as I look at the photo, it looks to me as though it's sloping down towards the western edge. And that was part of my concern,
Yeah.
is that if you have water coming off the roof and it's going straight down, especially with this invasives removal.
Well,
you know, we're gonna be-
the grade lines you see behind the house on either side of the deck is really just a landing outside, a sliding glass door in the back of the
Yeah.
house. And then there's stairs down. The grading that's taking place behind the house is really so that the house doesn't look as tall from Warner's Pond. If it weren't for those two grade lines coming in from each side and curling in, there's a basement door under the deck.
Oh.
Gotcha.
So if those two grade lines didn't exist, you have a pretty flat area, just like if you were looking at the backyard of 365 Commonwealth. It's just a fairly level backyard, and then it does go to, if we had a broader site plan, it does then slope down to the Warner's Pond. But yeah, there's going to be a little grassy backyard there.
Yeah, I think in either case, it's a relatively straightforward.
I think you just need
issue.
to address it so it's addressed. Our policies would require that you say what's happening. And I'm not looking to put any fly in the ointment, but it's our function to make sure those things happen. No, my only concern is they were going to overbuild something. No, Nathan knows. Nathan knows he should come up with something with that'll work. And
Yes,
the public
yeah.
benefit of this is I'm not telling you to make your case, but
Oh, no.
he can make the case this is a hell of a public benefit, and this will suffice. We can live with it, but you just can't ignore the issue. I mean, I heard someone say something under the driveway and it sounded. Well, no, I mean, whatever it takes.
Yeah, very straightforward. Should be.
He's licensed to determine that.
Yeah. Okay. I think the other comment, Nathan, is just showing the stockpile area on the plan.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Is that utility pole already exists, Nathan?
Yes, utility bill 29, that's already there.
Good. That's good.
Yes, very good.
All right. Any other comment from the public out? Deal, are you seeing any out there? Okay. All right, so I guess we'll continue this. Obviously, it's in front of the ZBA, is my understanding. Oh, not yet? Okay.
What is CBA stand for?
Zoning Board of Review.
Well, they can't do anything until they open the trail and do all that work. I mean.
Yeah, so
the work,
we got a long way to go.
It's not like we're in a huge hurry.
Yeah,
Just
it's fine.
getting the ball rolling.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Right.
So when would you like to continue?
Thanks, everyone.
I think you could easily give us at least a month. So, yeah.
21st,
Yeah.
July 21st is acceptable?
Well, I mean, if Nathan thinks he'll have anything, by then.
July 21st.
You good with that?
Yeah, I don't see a problem. Yeah, with I'm guessing submission within like a week of that, right?
July 9th?
So that July 9th.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay,
All right. Works for me.
thank you. We'll see you. We'll plan on seeing you then.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next hearing, 261 East Bridge Road, DEP file number 137-1569. Who'll be discussing that this evening with us?
So I'm Rich Kirby from LEC.
Hi, Rich. If you could speak up, that would be appreciated.
Sure, I will do my best to project my voice to your conference room. With me tonight is the applicant, Carl Calabria, and the project engineer, Vito Colonna from Cornerstone Engineering. We filed this application to demolish and reconstruct the single-family dwelling located at 261 Heath's Bridge Road. And I'm sure Delia is working on pulling up the plan, or I'm happy to share my screen, whatever's easier. There we go. So this property is located in the southeastern portion of town. It's south of Sudbury Road and west of the Sudbury River, which occurs along the eastern property boundary. Resource areas associated with the site include bordering vegetated wetlands and bank associated with the Sudbury River. The 100-year flood zone occurs at elevation 120, which is the emboldened contour shown there on the plan. And of course, the 200-foot riverfront area extends from the high water mark associated with the river. The applicant proposes to demolish the existing house, which is the existing house that's shown there now, and reconstruct it in its exact location with the addition of a proposed garage away from the Sudbury River toward the street. That proposed garage will replace the carport, detached carport and garage, which will be demolished. Also, the driveway will be reconfigured to provide access to the proposed garage with a turnaround remaining, so they can drive straight onto Heath's Bridge Road. All in all, the project results in a slight decrease of impervious area by roughly 46 square feet. In addition to this work, they are proposing to replace the septic tank and pump, which is just to the south of the driveway there in plan view, and that will connect to a 2-inch force main that goes to the leaching field next to the driveway, which is just outside the riverfront. Erosion controls will encapsulate the limit of work. It's the solid dash line, the bold dash line around the project. We did evaluate stormwater management for this site. Vito looked at 3 test pits, which are shown on the plan surrounding the house. And the first 2 on the to the left and bottom of the existing were not very good. We had high groundwater table. The one in the back behind the house, between the house and the Sudbury River, that had better soils, but the problem is to put an infiltration system back there, we need to be a certain distance from the foundation, and then you're getting into the tree line, and you probably would compromise some of the roots of the trees that are right along the Sudbury River. So what we chose to do instead is install a stone apron along the northern edge of the garage. You can see that there. The garage will be pitched toward that stone apron, and it's been designed to capture runoff resulting from roughly 1,900 square feet of the driveway, so a pretty significant portion. It's been conservatively designed. Typically, Vito designs these for the half-inch storm event. If you look at the numbers that are shown on the plan, we're actually designing for about a 0.8-inch storm event, so almost the 1-inch storm event. And of course, those numbers don't account for any infiltration, which of course, you know, we'll always have some infiltration along the edge there within that stone apron. Lastly, what we're proposing is some invasive species management. Included in the notice of intent, it's described as removing Tartarian honeysuckle, buckthorn, etc., and replacing those one-to-one with a list of native plants that we included in the application. Getting to those now. We're proposing high bush blueberry, witch hazel, black chokeberry, red twig dogwood, nannyberry, American hazelnut, and/or serviceberry, with at least 5 of those species being represented. The idea was to essentially replace one-to-one, hand pull the invasive shrubs that are out there, and replace them with those native ones. So the work is in the riverfront area. We do cite all of the performance standards for work within riverfront area and demonstrate the project's compliance with those standards. But really, it's just a relatively straightforward raise and rebuild in place with the new garage and modified driveway. So with that, I'd be happy to turn it over to the commission and answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Rich. I just had one primary comment. I was noticing is it a sump pipe?
Oh yes, the sump
Kind of
pump.
running off the corner of the house, but it seems to be going uphill, and I was just wondering what that was all about.
Sure. So if you go back to the plan, I'm going to let Vito explain the engineering associated with the sump pump. But right now, off the back of the house, there's a sump pump that discharges. It doesn't appear as though it runs very often, but it does discharge groundwater directly to the slope into the Sudbury River. So we're proposing to relocate that and pump it as far uphill as we can away from the river, such that it has ample room to infiltrate over the existing landscaped area before it goes to the river.
Hmm.
Do I have that right?
If you're building a new house, why are you needing a sump pump? Where's the water table and where's the basement floor?
Yeah.
What are those elevations?
So this is Vito Colonna, just chiming in. So every house basically needs to have some type of foundation drainage. And right now they already have a sump pump in there. It doesn't run very often. So in the proposed house, they were just going to basically mimic that same condition. Groundwater in the front of the house was relatively high just because the soils were pretty poor. But they are so tight that actually not much water actually transmits through them. You know, when we dug the test pits, the sides were wet, but nothing ever even dripped to the bottom of the hole because the soils were so tight. So I can see why there's not much flow in his sump pump now. But to get above that water table, we'd have to bring the whole house up, you know, the basement floor up about 8 feet or so, or 7 feet up. So we wouldn't want to do that. We'd want to just leave it, you know, as it is now. He hasn't had any water issues as it is, but we do have to have some type of foundation drainage. And we can either gravity flow that or sump pump it down by the river where it is today. But kind of discussion with everybody, we thought it would better to pump it further away and kind of get it up, you know, have it a chance to infiltrate in through the natural vegetation.
So that sump will just go uphill slightly, daylight, and if there's water there, just free flow over and be absorbed. That's the concept.
Right. Yep. That's it.
We thought it was a better solution than just continuing the routing of the pumped water directly to the river.
I mean, it is
That makes sense.
obviously clean water.
Doesn't actually show on the
but-
plan, the existing one doesn't show.
Yeah, no.
But so you're saying that the groundwater in that location where the proposed sump pump discharge, the groundwater is higher than the wetland, than it's, you know, so the wetland elevation is at, let's say, 115 plus or minus, and the groundwater elevation is higher than that?
That's right. It's basically just because of the soil texture. It's just holding water. It won't allow it to drain down through. So it's more of a slow drain than an actual true water table.
Yeah.
It does hold water for a lot of times of the year. You know, but it's not maybe your true water table which would be more related to the river.
But that's the point, is this water probably won't be infiltrated. It's
No.
probably just gonna roll
It's gonna
back down to the
Right,
river.
are you,
Right, if
like,
the
is there a
soils are so
backflow
tight.
preventer,
Yeah.
or, I mean, or do you even need it? I guess would be the question.
Yeah, I mean, you either need it or you don't, and if you need it and you shut the pump off, you get water in your basement, yes? I mean,
Right.
I was trying to figure, where's the high water? You're saying high water is 8 feet above
It's
the basement
about-
floor?
It's at about so there's a 129 contour running near, say, test pit 1.
Yeah, but
I think we had water down a couple feet.
we're talking
3.
about 115 down at
Yeah.
the,
I mean,
the
your
river
groundwater
level.
elevation is plus or minus 115.
Yeah, it's not gonna be,
Yeah, so we had it about 125 up in the front of the house.
groundwater?
I don't understand how that's possible.
Seasonal. It's a seasonal groundwater. It's I guess what we call it, a perched water table. It's
Okay, but
seasonally
even
there.
your 100-year floodplain is at, what? What elevation is that at, 120?
120.
120. And you can see why the septic field up here on the left-hand side of the screen, how that's a raised system. So when that was put in, whenever it was put in, they must have encountered the same soil conditions and raised that septic system up a few feet
Okay.
above natural grade.
Just out of, and is it a new foundation you're building on?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so
Well, you could not put a basement.
that's true too.
So it's a partial basement,
It is a partial basement.
right? The front part of the house is on slab, is that right?
No, I think there's 2 separate basements
Yeah.
right now, currently.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, all we have is this basement.
Gotcha. Okay.
Roof runoff. What are you doing with the roof runoff? And existing is just letting Mother Nature take it? And are you proposing anything?
We in talking with Carl and Vito, we tried to come up with a way in which we could maybe collect and infiltrate some of that roof runoff. But because of the relatively high estimated seasonal high groundwater and the tight soils, the only test pit, we dug 3 test pits in evaluation of this.
Yeah.
Test pit that had reasonable soils where you could put an infiltration system was test hole 3. And, there's not a whole lot of room back there behind the house between the
No,
back
you're not doing that.
No.
and the tree line. And if you wanted to put something there, you'd have to be, try to be 10 feet away from the foundation, and then you're running into the natural vegetation of the slope. So it really didn't make sense to do that. So in lieu of stormwater infiltration for the roof runoff, which is clean, we're taking 1,900 square feet of the driveway and infiltrating that into the stone apron that I described.
Okay. Thank you for that explanation. Any other comments from the commission? Yes, Delia.
So, comment from staff.
Yes.
Just a question on the invasive species of rural ridge. If you're proposing, which is great, if you want to propose to do that, can you demarcate on the plan where you would like to do it? Identify how that will be done and what your plant schedule is, size, species, spacing, that kind of information.
Yes, we can make some notes to the plan to that effect. I think Carl, in talking with him a little bit more about this today, would really like to do it throughout the site, including within the 200-foot riverfront area.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Once you get up in there, there's a fair amount of buckthorn and things.
That's what I thought, that behind the house was more buckthorn bittersweet. I didn't see a lot on the bank.
Yeah, there's some there, but it's not too much. And that's why, even though the embankment portion of the property accounts for roughly, 8,000 square feet, I only took credit for about 2,000 square feet, or estimated 2,000 square feet of enhancement, because I figured only about a quarter of that slope would be actually managed per se.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we'll add some language and some detail to the plants. Because of the plant availability, I know, with respect to the shrubs, for example, I know a lot of commissions like to see shrubs, planted 3 to 4 feet or 3 feet at the time of planting, but they're just, the nurseries cannot keep up. They're simply not available at that size at any time of the year. I suppose if you contract grow, if you hired a nursery to contract grow the plants a year in advance, that might be an opportunity. But so I've been doing 18 to 24 inches, frankly, or 18 to 24 plus, because that's realistically what's available.
That's fine. They grow better. It's fine.
So, okay, so we can make some plan revisions. And Delia, forgive me if I misunderstood you earlier, but it sounds like if that's the only item, we could get this plan into you by next Friday, and we should be, barring any comments on the revisions, we should be pretty good to go for the commission to vote to issue the order on December.
July.
We're ready for
July
December.
21st. I'm sorry, July 7th. July 7th.
Okay.
Okay, but we need some public comment too.
I have just one more.
Yes, please.
If we're gonna go to that extent, what are you doing at the end of, I hate to keep harping on this, but you're pumping water and I totally with you, pumping it away, what happens at the end of the pipe? Are you putting anything there? Is there any stone or anything to slow the water as it gushes out the pipe? I mean, if so, you probably ought to put it on the plan so it's.
Yeah, we're probably going to need something down there. We can add a little detail on the plan.
I just think then it's done, especially if we're moving towards the field.
Right, because are you excavating something like a sump?
That's what I'm saying. What are you doing?
Yeah, we'll show a little detail there. I think we probably should have some kind of stone area just to stabilize it, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
Once it's there for a while, it'll stabilize, but we want to get that initial.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to do stone. It's not like you've got massive CFS coming out of that basement. I mean, you plant it.
Okay.
You should show that, it's going to be regraded, presumably.
Yeah.
And where's the existing discharge?
It is.
It's almost in line with the retaining wall, I believe, off the back of the house.
Yeah, like between flags 3 and 4, but at the top of the slope.
Right. So that's coming out.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, they would just probably abandon that one. When you put the foundation in, you just cut it right off.
Yeah. Any public comment in regard to this application? Anything, Delia, from your end? Okay, so seeing none, we'll continue to the 7th.
All right, thanks all very much.
Okay,
thank you.
All right, let's see. I think we're down to 245 Park Lane. DEP file 1371547. We'll be addressing this.
That will be me. My name is Ian Ainsley. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Ian Ainsley. I am an engineer working for the homeowner, Bo Wisage, who is here with his wife, right on the camera that you can see him right there. This is a permit that was issued in, I think, November of last year for a pool to be installed in the bordering land subject to flooding. And we are here for a request to amend that permit. Since that permit was issued, the homeowners have hired a landscape architect who has kind of refined the pool decking and kind of spot grades and done some landscaping and things like that. And it had changed enough that we felt it was kind of warranted to check with the town, and the staff recommended that we come back in for an amendment. So the concept is really the same. It's a pool that's in the floodplain in the back. We're amending to fill in more of the floodplain area than we were before. I think before we had shown 0 just because it was so minor at the time. Right now we're proposing to fill in about I think 200 cubic feet roughly. And we are providing compensatory storage nearby. And I think that's about 600 cubic feet. So we're providing more than we're taking out. But that's really the gist of it. It's the same pool in the same location. The pool decking before had just been immediately surrounding the pool. Now it extends right up to the house. They're removing a existing deck in the back of the house that we surveyed underneath, and they're going to be cutting out some of that area to provide some of the compensatory storage. And that's really it. It's same type of project, just a little bit different configuration, a little more filling going on.
Okay. I'm just not seeing the compensatory storage area. That's.
Yeah, so we're pulling that 122 contour back, essentially
Okay.
digging that out, making it a little bit lower. And then right in the back of the house where that existing deck is to be removed. Right now, you can see that 122 contour is kind of the bold lines going right into the deck, kind of right in the middle of the house back there. We're cutting that down to, right in front of the steps, 121, and then kind of at the base of that steps right there, 120.7. So those are the two areas that we're taking volume out of. And there is kind of an 18-inch high wall right along that that's going to keep it flush.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else have any comments? Okay. Any public comment in regard to the application? All right. I believe we have something prepared for the for a motion.
I make a motion to issue an amended OOC to install additional, I guess, decking around the pool, edging around the pool with findings A, standard 1 through 19, and special conditions 20 through 50. On DEP file number 1371547.
Thank you, Greg. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Nick. And the vote, Greg?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. Thank you, guys. Good luck. with
Okay,
that.
that was quick. Thank you.
Welcome. All right. Let's see. What is the last one we have? I think we're off the extension
We're
request
off to extension.
for DIMIC, DEP file 137-1394. Good evening.
Evening. I'm Alan Dimick. It's from 79 Concord Road. My co-owner and wife is sitting there, Margaret Dimick.
Good evening.
Thank you for your patience. My Lord,
Yes.
you've been here all
No,
night.
I've been to many of these meetings over the years, watching developments and things like that, and so I'm used to the talking. So I have a project that has been going on far too long, and unfortunately, it's not going to meet the deadline of the extension that it had. So I'm requesting a further 1-year extension. 1 year rather than 6 months, because if there's difficulty finding contractors, and I certainly can't find a surveyor or a civil engineer right now, so Lord knows. If there's difficulty finding contractors, I may not have grass until next spring. So that's why.
Okay.
1 year request. Copy of this if you need it.
I'm sure you have that.
Okay.
I think we're all set. Thank you. Well, we certainly understand the issue of lack of contractors and they're in the busy season out there. So seems appropriate. Yes.
We did, just so you know, we did try, we hired a civil, an engineer who presented a plan that was not permissible. And so, and it took a long time to get that.
Sure. You had to restart.
So we tried, we spent $2,500 for something we couldn't use.
Yeah. Understood.
And
Got it. Okay. So I think seems like a practical request. I don't think any comments from the commission. Okay. Any comments from the public in regard to the 1-year extension request? Okay, seeing none.
I make a motion that we issue a 1-year extension on DEP file number 137-1394-79 Comerford Road.
Second.
Thanks, Nick. And the vote? Greg?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Good luck. All right, we're going to close an issue. Bentley Building Corp., 5AB and 31 Sunnyside Lane.
Okay. Let's see. Make a motion that we close an issue for DEP file number, no, wait a minute, 1371566 for 5A, 5B, and 31 Sunnyside Lane and 43 Pond Street with finding one. And note that there may be other resource areas present on the site, which the commission was not asked to verify. In addition, the commission was unable to verify the resource area boundary flags other than the ones approved in the ORAD. For this reason, the commission reserves the right to review any future proposal for work on site to determine if there is a resource area or portion thereof not verified in this ORAD that may trigger the commission's jurisdiction. During the site visit to confirm the resource boundaries, Natural Resources staff noted the presence of debris consisting of metal debris, appliances, and other material items within the 100-foot buffer zone. This debris must be removed by the applicant and disposed of at an appropriate location.
Second.
And the vote? Gary?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Gary? I mean, Greg, excuse me.
Make sure. Yeah, aye.
Okay. And I'm an aye as well. Whew. All right, certificates of compliance.
I
I
recuse
think-
myself from the first one.
Thank you, Nick. And I think we can take Nick's as one and then we can bundle the three.
Okay. I make a motion to issue a COC for 300 Virginia Road, DEP file number 1371543.
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. Greg?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well.
I make a motion to issue COCs for 261 Munson Road, DEP file number 1371504 and
Five.
a 5. Did I say 4?
Yes.
It's late. 158 South Willard Road, DEP file number 1371429 and DEP file number 1371354 through 269 Sudbury Road.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Sarah. And Greg will take the vote.
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Sarah?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
And I am an aye as well. All right, and then I think we've got one other business item before administrative approvals, White Pond rules. Delia? How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Very good.
So I wanted to bring to the commission, I mentioned that we have the Rangers. Kendra started a few weeks ago and has joined Bill Brooks. And they had a couple of situations that we have not encountered before with any regularity. One we have, which is that there's loud music that is at the pond. And we don't have a rule that speaks to loud music. The second is that they encountered over the weekend a group of 14 people, and they had floats that were the size of the conference room table. And the third issue is that yesterday, and this is a completely new one, 3 guys out waist deep in water in their swim trunks, and they were fly fishing. And there's nowhere near enough room to be fly fishing at White Pond if you're standing on the shore, because people walk on the beach.
Yeah.
You're hooking trees with a line if you're, so it's getting caught up in the line. So I would like to ask the commission to approve 3 additional rules at White Pond that we can post so that the rangers are able to more effectively do their job. No beach floats, no fly fishing, and no loud music. And I've sent a request to the town manager to have the select board also consider that at their, at an upcoming meeting.
Loud music is subjective.
It is subjective, and we're not going to have a noise meter out there, But if somebody is having to raise their voice to have a conversation with somebody, that's loud music. And at least you can point to the sign and say, you know, we can agree that loud music is where we have to be yelling at each other to be heard.
Yeah.
Can I ask about beach floats? That might be an American term that I'm just not familiar with, but is it clear to everybody how big a beach float is?
So I left it vague so that it would encompass everything, so that it would encompass inner tubes and it would encompass anything that, I didn't want to say flotation device because to
Right.
me that implies
Swimming.
safety.
Yeah, like
Safety,
jackets
yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot.
Right.
Yeah.
But
But
if there's
but
a
you
better
wouldn't use
term
those
for
anyway.
it,
Yeah,
you're not supposed to use
yeah,
it.
that's right. So. it
But if there's a
captures
better
everything.
term for for beach float.
Yeah.
Maybe use the modifier inflatable beach floats because.
But the rafts, they're not inflatable, right? They're
Then you
big
make a wooden raft.
polystyrene
Well,
rafts.
no,
Is
you
that
are
what
right that they have those, firm foam
Yeah.
that you don't.
Oh, the
replace.
noodles?
The
Oh, I
noodles
can
are
have my
the
noodle.
We've got a huge
Stiff board,
square
the
in our
boards.
garage,
yeah.
not that we'd use it on my pond, but
That is inflatable or no?
no.
That's not. Okay, so does beach floats?
I think beach floats is
I
right
think we
then.
start
Yeah,
there.
that's a question.
Okay.
That Seems like a good start.
These rules apply to only public areas of White Pond, or do they apply to residents?
So I should,
folks
I'm
who
sorry,
live-
thank you. I should have just clarified that these rules would apply to the town land at Sachem's Cove.
Okay.
And so that,
And not the town's land, the White Pond recreation area or
Right.
whatever it's being called.
right.
The
The White Pond
fly
Beach, yeah.
fishing one, just so we don't have another trail issue. Do we care if somebody at 5 a.m. is out there fly fishing with no one else around?
Yes. Because I think if, I mean, if you're fly fishing and you're doing it apparently, and I don't fly fish,
I
but if
don't
you're
either.
doing it correctly, you're needing to have 50 feet behind you.
Oh, I realize, but if you're willing to walk out,
No, we don't want people walking out.
okay.
The whole point is
That's what I'm
not-
asking.
Yeah,
That's-
yeah.
Okay. Then we do care. Okay. Okay.
And I've never seen that. I see people
I've
with
never
their
seen many either.
With a little
know,
spin rod or
spin
something.
rods,
Yeah.
right?
yeah.
And they catch trout and big fish and, but I've never seen fly fishermen out there. Or fly anglers, whatever it is.
Both.
Yep, flyers.
There you go.
I'm sure that's
So we
incorrect.
take a vote on that?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Um,
Somebody raised their hand. I don't know if you want to have public
Oh,
comment
yeah.
on this.
sure.
What's that?
Are you asking for public comments?
Yes, Beth. Yeah, if you could state your name and address, please.
Sure. Carmen Jacquier, 38 Shore Drive.
Ah.
In regard to the loud music, would that ever apply to what is now the town beach during the day or at night?
So it should have, it's a common sense, Carmen, this is Delia, this is a common sense rule, but I would hope that it does apply to
Okay.
that. I don't know how the town has been enforcing that since the town acquired the land in 2018. So, and it's not something, NRC can only put rules on the land that NRC controls.
That's the point.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
don't control that.
So these
take
rules
that
would
to
only apply to
Susan
Sachem
Bates.
Cove.
No, that's the recreation department. That's rec land.
Is it?
Yes.
The beach is recreation land for,
Correct.
Take-
For
yeah,
their
rec
rules.
department.
because I tell you, there is a lot of loud music at night when the teens
So
come.
I
Yeah.
would definitely bring it to the attention of, that would be Kate Hodges.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Beth Kelly. Sorry, I have a lot of background noise. I have multiple grandchildren and a new puppy visiting. Sorry about that. I live on 39 White Ave, and Delia, thank you for making that suggestion. I have seen fly fisher people, and they're in the water with waders, etc. And if you're behind them, and there are plenty of people behind them, it is kind of dangerous. So thank you. I think all three suggestions are great, and it will be easier to enforce along the cove. This Sunday or Saturday when I met the ranger, I think it was really helpful because there was about 15 dogs in the water when I walked down there with my own dog, by the way, who wasn't in the water. And it was great for him because he was telling people about the bloom, but somebody said, well, what's wrong? And he said, well, there's two things wrong. And he said, there's no swimming. They said, well, where does it say no swimming? So I think, you know, these rules need to be posted more prominently, especially the no dog swimming, right? But yeah, I think, I don't know how you're gonna sign it, Delia, but I think it's a great idea, and thank you.
Thank you, Beth.
Thanks, Beth. We sign a lot and a lot of the signs get ripped out, but the rangers, I'll remind them, but they should be reposting everything that gets pulled out.
Yeah.
And we're working with an Eagle Scout. I think you know this. We're working with an Eagle Scout who was supposed to help us with some signage, but he sort of has dropped off the radar a little bit. But
Aw.
he's going to be developing some more permanent signage. So
Great, thank you.
Okay, so let's take, I'm going to make a motion in regard to the three.
I make a
rules.
motion that we accept the suggestion of the 3 new rules for the cove, the Sachem Cove.
Have a second. Thank you. In the vote, Gary,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Greg,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. All right, moving on to administrative approvals.
So Concord Green has 2 additional trees that they would like to remove that they are considering high hazard as determined by their arborist, a maple and a pine, both close to the pond within at least 50 feet, if not 25 feet. They're willing to do a replacement of a river birch and a Fraser fir. These are 2 trees that are not on the plan that they had requested approval from the commission. They do seem like they're coming down at some point soon, so would recommend approval of those trees.
Did they do replacements for all the pines they took out before?
They have that on their schedule to do that. They came in front of the commission, I want to say 2 years ago, for a massive removal and replanting because a lot of those trees had been planted in the 70s when it was constructed. I think 70s when it was
And they were
constructed.
planted too close together. I mean, we saw it on the planning board, I think also, or something.
Yes.
but-
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I didn't remember if they had done mitigation or replanting.
Yes, they are doing substantial.
Further
mitigation.
apart.
Right. Right. The next one, 451, Colleen, maybe you can chime in on this one.
4 pines, they're ranging between like 12 to 18 inches. One of them has a big hole in the bottom of it, so they're recommending, they just want to remove the 4 pines, some of our either 25 and I think one of them's in the 50. So it's just replacement plantings.
Wright Farm Association, as you go into the development at Wright Farm, they have a culvert that goes underneath the roadway that is currently not fenced. And probably, if it was built now, it would have been some sort of protection, but they just want to keep people from tipping off the sides of the road. It is in the 25-foot no disturb zone. It's on the adjacent roadway. I mean, it's on the road shoulder. It's split rail fence.
Safety.
Yes.
It's a safety
Makes
issue.
perfect sense.
Mhm. And I don't think that this is on the agenda.
It's not.
Okay, so I'll bring this to you next.
The one that's was formerly on, or
No, this is for Haywood Meadow invasive
Ah,
species, but
okay.
I put it on the thumbnail, but I didn't put it on the agenda.
okay. All right, thank you. All right, motion to adjourn. Do we have one? You want to stick here all night, Greg? All right. See you
I make a
through.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, and a quick vote, Greg?